Guys, welcome to this video. My name is John Watts. I'm a consumer protection lawyer. A lot of what we do involves helping people with credit report errors. So it might be helping them to understand their credit report and then to dispute errors. And then when those errors do not get fixed, to then sue under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And part of what we use is what is typically known as Metro 2. And that's just the industry standard for how do we report the data as a furnisher? How does the furnisher report the data to the credit bureaus? And then it's evolved into more than that to say, well, here are the standards for how you should report it, when you should report it. Now, we typically call this Metro 2. The technical name is the Credit Reporting Resource Guide. It's put out by the CDIA, Consumer Data Industry Association. But I'm just going to call it Metro 2 because that's how we've always referred to it. And a lot of times this Metro 2 has kind of taken on this mysterious air. You know, what exactly does it mean? Or somebody has the secret because of Metro 2. There's nothing magical about it, or frankly, even secret about it. This is just the standard when you have furnishers and the credit bureaus. Well, how do they communicate to the credit bureaus? The credit bureaus don't want 10,000 different data formats. So they say, look, guys, put it all in the same data and let us show you through this Metro 2 guide what the industry standard is that we've all agreed to. This is how we're supposed to report a late payment or a debt buyer account or an installment loan, whatever it may be. I mean, there's detailed rules on every type of account. Now, a couple things before we get into this, and this will be a multi-part series, okay? This document is 300-something pages long. We're not covering it all in this video. But some people think, well, Metro 2 is the gospel truth. It's the law. Well, it's not the law, okay? So I've seen even lawyers bring cases where they don't take depositions, they don't do anything. They just go, well, hey, look, I can show that Metro 2 was violated, therefore I should win. And the judges routinely throw those cases out. So we can't just rely on it. On the other hand, it's pretty persuasive because this is what the credit bureaus have come up with and the furnishers have agreed to it. And everybody in this sort of, world here of credit reporting says, this is how we're going to do it. So when they violate their own standards, which they do all the time, when they violate their own standards, while a judge is not bound to accept that as violating the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it's very, very persuasive. The FCRA, I mean, it's more than this, but just to summarize, it says only report accurate, only report complete information. And then there's the idea of timeliness with it. Well, those are kind of broad. I mean, what exactly is accurate? What's complete? What's timely? Well, Metro 2 comes in and says, for the credit bureaus and the furnishers and this whole world of credit reporting, this is what accurate is. This is what complete is. This is what timely is. And so this is not the silver bullet, okay? And again, some people sort of wrap themselves in this cloak of like, I'm the wise man, the wise woman at the top of the hill because I've heard about Metro 2. No, it's nothing particularly secret. This is just something that we study, we learn, and we say, now that I know the industry standard, can I show that they're not even keeping their own industry standard? Now, sometimes what they do is they're getting sued a lot, and they say, well, we're not going to change how we're doing it, so we'll try to change the industry standard. Well, again, we're not bound by that just because the credit bureaus get together and say, we think that doing X is accurate. That doesn't mean it's accurate. But when they say they have to do X and then they don't even do it, that helps us to prove that it is not accurate or not complete or not timely. So let's look here at just a few pages that will give us kind of a flavor or the goals or the motivation behind Metro 2. So you can see here, enables the reporting of accurate, complete, and timely credit information. It's to meet all requirements of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And when we have this industry standard, this sort of common language, then it allows credit information to be put to the consumer's file with greater consistency and to match it up to the right consumer. And so we have a little summary here at the bottom. Reporting in Metro 2 format greatly benefits the credit grantor, and that would also be the furnisher, the one providing or furnishing the data. The consumer reporting agencies, specifically with Metro 2, there are 4 of them. There's Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, the big 3, and then Innovis is also in that. And then your customer, the consumer. Okay. So now let's talk about industry reporting standards. By doing that, it will ensure the integrity and consistency of the information. So here's the timeliness. All accounts must be reported once per month. And then if an account's been paid or zero balance, then there has to be a final account status code. And so look, if you look at your credit report and there's a debt collector on there and they haven't updated the report in 6 months, that is not complying with Metro 2, unless there's some really strange exception. Because all accounts means every account. Nobody's left behind. All accounts must be reported a minimum of once per month. Okay, so that would give you a basis to challenge it. Now, you don't want to just have that. Okay, you want to make sure you're finding every other error in that account. But this will kind of get us starting to think about this and to use their own sort of rule book, their playbook against them when they don't even follow their own rules. Okay, and so look, when reporting delinquent accounts, the industry standard for reporting account delinquency must be followed. Well, what's that? Well, that's right here. The clock for a 30-day delinquency starts 30 days after the due date. This just makes sense, okay? I get a bill on the 1st and it says, hey, I'm recording this on February the 7th. And it says, the bill says, hey, John, your bill's due on February 15th. Well, am I late on February the 10th? No. Am I late on the 15th? No. Am I late on the 16th? Yes. By how many days? 1 day. Well, then the furnisher, the data furnisher, has to follow these rules about how do I mark this if you're 1 day late or 10 days late or 29 days late? How do I mark it? Well, this gives us an example. And one great thing about Metro 2 is it gives us a lot of examples, FAQs, frequently asked questions, to illustrate exactly what the industry standard is. So if we are, let's see here, if we're 17 days past due, well, what would be the code? Well, it's code 11. Well, what does code 11 mean? 0 to 29 days past due. So what if I'm 29 days past due and they put on there I'm 30 days past due? Well, 29 ain't 30, okay? So that would be inaccurate credit reporting. Now, what if I'm 45 days past due? Well, that's a code 71, which is 30 to 59. It's not 60, okay? What if I'm 76 days? Well, then that's code 78, which is 60 to 89 days. In other words, they have to follow the rules here. And so this is something to check on when we're looking at credit reports. Okay, now going back to kind of more of the general ideas here. Accuracy and integrity. So part of the Fair Credit Reporting Act says accuracy means the information that a furnisher provides to the consumer reporting agency about an account or other relationship with the consumer correctly, and then they give 3 things. Reflects the terms and liability of the account. In other words, how much do you owe? You know, or is it paid monthly? You know, what are the details here? Reflects the consumer's performance. Okay, so how are you paying? When are you paying? What are you paying? And identifies the appropriate consumer. So that makes sense. I mean, if you're going to report on somebody, you got to know what the details are about that reporting. And you have to report accurately what the consumer's doing. And you got to get the right consumer. Pretty important. Now, what about integrity? It means the information is substantiated by the records at time it's furnished. It's furnished in a form and manner designed to minimize the likelihood that it may be incorrectly reflected, and includes the credit limit, if applicable, and in the furnisher's possession. Well, frankly, the furnisher should always have the credit limit, right? unless we're talking about a debt collector. So we talked about what accuracy and integrity is. Now, how do we maintain accuracy, integrity, and consistency? So once the information is reported accurately, then Metro 2 is saying, look, data furnishers, do not ask for a change in the history payment record unless it's inaccurate. In other words, don't just change it unless your information is not correct. And by doing this, the history information will be reported in a factual, precise, and objective manner. Only inaccurately reported accounts should be deleted. Okay, so they don't like the idea of sort of a pay for delete. Now again, a furnisher can still delete it, but Metro 2 is saying don't do that. And requests by consumers for re-verification. It's called re-verification because we presume the furnisher has already verified this information before they provided it. So now the consumer is saying, hey, I think there's something wrong. So now the furnisher has to re-verify it. And that can be done promptly. And then unless an error is discovered, you tell the consumer, we're not changing what we're reporting. So that's what Metro 2 says. Okay. Now we have some pages. These are quick reference guides to different types of loans, which we're not really going to focus on these today. We will in other videos. But I just want to get to a few more pages. And let's see. Yeah, here we go. All right, so Metro 2 is developed as a standard for the credit reporting industry. And here's what it's trying to accomplish. One standard computer layout to be used for reporting accurate, complete, and timely. Do you see that? We're coming back to that again. Accurate, complete, and timely. And meets all requirements of the Fair Credit Reporting Act and some other laws. And let's see, Metro 2 designed to allow the reporting of the most accurate and complete information on the credit history. So it's not somewhat accurate and somewhat complete. No, it's the most accurate, the most complete information. That's the goal of Metro 2. So if we remember that goal, which is exactly what the Fair Credit Reporting Act says, then as we look at our credit reports and we compare that to Metro 2, we can say, well, wait a minute, this is not the most accurate or the most complete. And then it says it's imperative that all accounts are reported a minimum of once per month. And then if they're ultimately paid or closed, that there's a final account status code. In other words, if I pay off my auto loan in June, they don't have to keep reporting it July, August, September. It can stay on my report, but it's not being updated every month because there's nothing to update. It's paid off. And then Metro 2 recognizes FCRA places significant responsibility on both the data furnishers, that's going to be credit card company, mortgage company, car loan company, debt collector, and consumer reporting agencies. Again, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, Innovis. And here's some fields that they just want to highlight. Compliance condition, data first delinquency. And they say, look, you've got to make sure all your fields, and a field is just a place where you put data in. So the date open, the date closed, the payment history for January 2021. All these things are fields. High credit, credit limit, high balance, all this stuff. They say make sure all these fields are reported accurately and in logical and are logical in relationship to each other. That's where we see a lot of problems where, like, for example, I'll look at credit reports of my clients and it'll say the date of first delinquency was June 2018. Like, okay, that's when we got delinquent and we never recovered from that. And so then I look at the payment history for June 2018 and it says, perfect, paid on time. Wait a minute. How are those two things? First of all, the computer ought to say, warning, 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 this does not compute, okay? But they don't set it up that way. And so you will find these just logical inconsistencies. And I've talked about this in other videos where we'll see January will be 30 days late, February will be 90 days late. How in the world does that happen? That's impossible, okay? And so There are some other things in here that get kind of technical. How do you write out the records? We're not going to cover that. I really just wanted you to see these pages with the highlighting, just to understand what is Metro 2 trying to accomplish. Complete, accurate, timely reporting, and to have a sort of a common language. So we're all speaking literally the same language, not trying to have a conversation where people, what if the furnisher says, well, I view 30 days late as being on time. And Equifax says, well, no, we view 30 days late as you're 30 days late. Well, that would be a problem. So we need the furnishers of the information and the credit bureaus all speaking the same language so they can come together and provide accurate, complete, timely credit reports. And that's what everybody is relying on. And we have the right as consumers to rely on that. And if our reports are not complete, we can dispute them. If they are not accurate, we can dispute them. If they're not timely, we can dispute them. And the only thing I'll say about complete is there's no requirement that a furnisher actually provide information on. So I have a Capital One card. They don't have to credit report on me. But when I say complete, what I mean is if they credit report on me, they must report complete. They can't just say, you know what, we're going to report all the negative information about John and none of the positive on this one account. Well, that would not be complete. That would be incomplete. And so we want complete, accurate, and timely information. Metro 2 helps us to do that. So I'll be going through in subsequent videos and just picking out little sections of Metro 2. Look, some of this gets a little detailed, a little kind of complicated. So just, fair warning, if you watch those videos, they may not be the most exciting thing, but getting into the details, the weeds here, lets us understand exactly how the reporting's supposed to be. And that can be the difference between a negative account that's inaccurate staying on your report and that account either being fixed or deleted, or we sue for that and get it deleted and get money paid. So this can be very, very valuable to understand. Okay, guys, well, I'll bring this to a close. I appreciate you watching this, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.